So now it's time to start with the JavaScript part for the password generator application. So for that we need to use the script.js file, and this file is already linked with the index.html by using this particular script tag. So make sure you attach your script file by using this particular script tag, which is script src script.js, where this particular file is also present in the same directory where the index.html is present. Alright, so after linking the script file, or you can say that attaching the script file, we need to first come to this script file. Here we need to fetch the IDs of all of these four checkboxes, this input type, this slider value, this indicator, and also we need to fetch the value of this password length, which we actually, this is the slider value. So we need to also get the ID of this slider value. Here I have actually removed the value. The reason for that, because we are going to update this particular value dynamically by using the JavaScript code. Okay, so coming back to the script.js, so here first we need to create bunch of variables. So first I'm going to here use the const, and the first variable that we need to create is the input slider value variable. It is going to be equal to document.getElement, because we have specified the ID. So here I will be using the getElement by ID. Then we need to provide the input slider. So actually I need to cross check the input slider, that is the input slider. Where is our input slider? This is the input slider. So first I actually fetch the ID of this input slider. Okay, so after that we need to fetch the IDs of all of these. So I'm going to come back to the script.js. Here I will be just duplicate these lines of code multiple times. So this one is going to be our slider value. This is our slider value, and this one is going to be our passbox. Okay, and after that I need to provide here some spaces, because right from here we need to use the lower case el, which is the lowercase element. Then this is the uppercase el, which is the uppercase elements. Then we need to provide here a numbers el, and then also that here we need to provide the symbols el, which is symbols element. And then here also I need to provide the generate button, generate btn. Okay, and also I need to here provide the copy btn, and then also I need to provide here pass indicator. Okay, so these all the variables we need. So after the symbols, these all variables are required for the proper working of this particular application. Now it's time to specify the ID. Also you can see here inside the include numbers, there is also a letters text appearing, but I actually remove it because that is not required, because there is no such a meaning will be appeared by using the include numbers letters, because include numbers is meaningful. So that is the reason I have removed the letters from the here, which is very simple. Just you need to remove the HTML part. Letters I have actually removed from the here, means the letters word. Okay, so it's time to provide the ID. So first we need to get the ID of the slider value. So this is our slider value. Where is this? Is the slider value, which is the span element. So here we need to paste the ID of the slider value, and then the third variable is the passbox, which is actually the input type passbox. So this is the ID passbox. We need to copy it and paste it here, and then lowercase el. So coming back to here, this is the lowercase, so we need to just simply copy it and paste it here. Then here we need to simply copy it and paste it here, which is the uppercase. Then here come back and copy the numbers, and again here come back and paste it. And then here we need to copy the symbols and come back to here, and then we need to paste the symbols. So we get the IDs of the all four checkboxes. Now it's time to get the ID of the generate btn. So it is actually a gen btn. Actually it is not, I am actually pasting the symbols. So simply copy gen btn and here paste it. Then we have the copy btn, which is actually this one, which is the icon, material icon. So this is the copy icon. Copy this one from here and paste it here inside the copy btn, and then we need to actually get the ID of the pass indicator. So it is actually a double pass, means double s is need to be provided here in order to become the word more meaningful. So pass indicator. So where is our pass indicator? This is one. So this is the pass indicator. So now we have successfully fetched the IDs of all of the HTML elements, which is actually creating the variables and initialize with the ID. Now with the use of these variables, we can access these particular elements inside the JavaScript code. Okay, so the first thing is we need to actually update the value of the slider value. So slider, we have already created the value, so we need to update its text content is equal to, then we need to actually update the input slider dot value. So according to the value of the input slider, we need to update the value. Okay, and after that we need to set the listener, which is input slider dot add event listener. So add event listener, inside of that we need to provide the input, and then to provide here a comma and then the arrow function, and inside of that we need to provide the slider value dot text content. So we need to update the text content to the slider value. So input slider dot value. Okay, so if the slider, now you can see according to the default value of the slider, it is actually changing the value. So if you actually comment out this particular line of the code, it is not going to display the value. So that is the reason we also specify the slider dot value, means slider value dot txt at the global scope as well, so that whenever the default value, so you can see this is the value. So if we actually increase here 16, then it is going to display here a 16, but right now we want to display a minimum value of like 5 or 6 or whatever we want to display here, like 3 is totally up to you. So we have actually called it here so that it actually show a default value of the slider. Okay, so after doing the slider value.txt, here we need to create the function which is called generate password, which is the function responsible for generating the password randomly, and that will be displayed to the inside this particular input box. Then we need to create this function, so generate password, and then we need to start its body. Inside of this generate password, first we need to here create the variable which is const, and then I want to provide the length, the name of the variable. First we need to calculate the length. So according to the value of the input slider, we need to calculate the length of the password. So input slider dot value. So according to the value of this particular input slider, we want to calculate the length of the password, because if the value of the input slider is 17, 18, 19, so this will be the length. This value will be initialized to this particular length variable. And after that we need to create some like variables, because right now I am actually here using the characters, means the let keyword, and I'm going to name the variable as characters is equal to, and I'm going to initialize it with the empty string. And then we need to here use the let password, which is the main password variable that will be used to hold the value of the password. Now I'm actually here using the let keyword because the values of these two variables will be updated multiple times. So that is the reason, because with the use of the const, whenever we create a const type variable, means a constant, then we need to initialize it with the value. We cannot leave the constant a blank value, or we cannot reinitialize the constant values, means the constant variables, if you just come to the just only talking about the variable phases. But with the use of the let, whenever we create a variable, we can actually initialize it to multiple times. Now after that we need to initialize this characters variable. So here we need to use the characters plus, and then we need to also add the value plus we need to initialize it. So here we'll be using this particular short syntaxing. So it is like lowercase el dot checked. So I'm actually using this approach to actually reduce the code, which is like ternary operator thing. Okay, so checked, if it is checked, then we want to actually initialize the lowercase character. So whatever lowercase character variable we have, so we need to create the lowercase characters, or I can say the lowercase letters. So right now this lowercase variable is not created, so we need to create this variable, and we need to initialize it with some default values, which is the alphabets of the ABCD. So right now if I just open my text file, because I have created all these already, these are the 4 variables we need. So let me first create these 4 variables first, explaining to you. So here we need to create some constant variables, that is lowercase letters is equal to, and then we need to create here const uppercase letters, and then we need to here create the const numbers. Okay, and then we need to create the const symbols. So these are the 4 variables are required. These values of these will be initialized on the basis of these characters, means the values of all of these 4 variables will be initialized to this character variable according to the value of these checked checkboxes, means according to the value of these checked input types. Okay, so I have already initialized these variables. You can see right now this is the 4 variables. So I'm going to copy it, and also we have this link tag that I already pasted inside the CSS part of the password generator application. So if I come back to here and just simply I'm going to replace this code with the copied one that I have copied from my text file. So make sure you just simply pause the video and type it. It is just a repeated task. I just simply copy and paste this particular part of the project, and you will also get the source code in the final resource section of the course. Alright, so now you can see here, this is actually just a variable of 26, which is small letters. This is capital letters. 26 alphabets we have initialized to the uppercase letter variable. Then we want a number, so we are actually added this old 10 digits of the number. Then the symbols, so we have plenty of symbols if you want to include. If you want to remove some of the symbols that you don't want to include in your password, like the @ and the $sign, which is basically used for currency, and this is actually used for the email ID, so you can just simply remove it if you want. So I'm just going to use all of these special symbols because I want to include all of these special symbols to my password. After doing this, now we don't get any error because we have specified this lowercase letter here. Similarly, we need to create the code for the numbers and also for the uppercase and also for the symbols. So here we need to update the value like uppercase, so it is like uppercase EL. Then here we need to update it with the numbers EL, and then here we need to update it with the symbols EL, which is the elements for the short. Then we are going to apply the uppercase letters. Then this is for the numbers and this is for the symbols. Alright, so now we have done with the initialization of this particular character variable. Now we need to use this length variable and also this password to create the password randomly. So for that we need to use the for loop, because I am going to done it with the use of the for loop so that it will become more easy for a beginner to understand, or even if you are an advanced developer, then you can use a different loop if you want. So here first we need to create the let variable, which is a counter variable. Yes, with the use of let we are actually creating the counter for the variable, which is I is equal to 0. So here I actually made a typos. I is equal to 0. Alright, and then we need to actually provide here a condition. So according to the length of the condition, we want to loop through the particular array, because it will be treated as an array, because right now this will be like a continuous string, so it is actually like an array. If we add all of this, if you console log it, the characters, whenever we click it, then you will know what it will be treated. It will be going to join all of these characters into one single variable. Okay, you can console log it for your debugging purpose. I'm just only going to explain the code here. Okay, so then we need to increment the counter variable value. Now here inside of the password, which is the variable that we have declared inside the generate password function, we need to add the another short syntaxing approach, which is the short syntax technique, to actually plus and also initialize the value to the password again. Then here with the use of the characters, so it is like our characters function. So this is the characters, which is a initialized variable which will be initialized to all of these whenever we checked. So if it is checked, then we are going to initialize. If it is unchecked, then we are going to initialize the empty values. Alright, so characters dot char add functions. So here we have used the char add function. It is very simple to understand, because char add function does what? It's going to return a specific characters, or you can say that it is used to retrieve a character at a specified index within a string. The index is actually provided with an argument. So like if I want to explain more, like at this point of time, it is going to like just take this example like case letter. Just I'm going to explain it. So take this as an example like this one. Here you can see this 26 alphabet treated as a string. So if you specify here an index value like KLM like 8, so on that 8 index it's going to return a value. Or if I say that if you specify index 3, so 0 1 2 3, so it's going to return a D. So char add function is very simple. It is not very hard to learn. It is just simply whatever argument we passed it here, means whatever argument we passed it here, it's going to return a string. Okay, but we want to get the string randomly, so for that we need to use here a random function. So we are going to use here math dot random, and we need to multiply this random value to like characters dot length. And there is a problem with the math dot random, because whenever we use the math dot random, it's going to give us some decimal values, means after point base value like a float values, it's going to give us some float value. So we need to wrap this entire code inside the math dot floor. Alright, so math dot floor, you can even simply console log the all statements if you want to do that. If you want to check it, just simply remove this math dot floor and just to try to print the value of this password inside the for loop by using the console.log statement, which is the best practice for you to actually learn the code quickly, because the more you practice the more you will learn. Okay, but I'm not going to do it here because I already did it when I am developing the application. So I'm just simply show you the final version of the code. Okay, so after doing this we are able to get the random password inside this password variable, and after that we need to initialize this password variable to the passbox, which is this particular input type. Okay, so for that we need to here use the passbox variable that we have declared at the top, that is the passbox variable, this one, which is actually used to initialize the value. Okay, means which is actually used to display the value, act as a label for the password. So here we want to type the passbox dot, so we actually want to update its value because it is an input type text. So here we want to pass the value of the password. So password is a variable that has the value. So if I here simply you can see right now we get our password randomly. So you can see here whenever I increase the value of the slider, you can see we get the random password of length, and here you can see the password length is also shown. So maximum value we have specified here 30. You can see here if I come back to the slider here, so the max is actually 30. So if you can increase here like 20, if I did it, then you can see the maximum value means the maximum password of 20 character you will get it here. So you can leave it, you can change it actually as per your need. So coming back to the script.js again, so we are actually get the password on actually changing the value of the slider. We also add the functionality to the generate password button. So for that we need to add the listener to this particular button. So here we need to create the generate password. So it is actually a variable. I need to check it, cross check it here, like the passbox generate btn. So we have actually have a generate btn, not generate password. Generate password is a function. So generate btn, then add event listener. So we want to listen to the click event of the generate btn, and here we need to provide the callback. So I can here pass the arrow function callback, that is this one, and inside of the arrow function we can call the generate password. Okay, so now if I click on this generate password, we get a password of length 3. If I increase the length of the password, you can see whenever I click on the generate password we get the password. You can even just simply set the value here like 9, because the minimum password is required in many of the website is actually a 8 character. So we are actually incrementing it with the 1, so minimum password length is 9. So if I click on the password means the generate password button, it's going to generate the password randomly. Now we can even include special symbols. Now you can see we get the special symbol as well. If you don't want to include numbers, you can click it, you will get the alphabets and this symbol. If you don't want to include uppercase, you can just something. So we are actually able to get the password randomly. Now we need to add the functionality, which is actually this one. Whenever we increment it, then this password indicator is also updated. So for that we need to create the password indicator function. So coming back to the script.js again, so inside of the passbox value, when we are actually updating the value of the passbox, here we need to actually add the another function, which is update password indicator. So it is the update password indicator. So we need to create this function. So after the end of the generate btn add event listener, here we need to create the update password indicator, and then we need to start its body. Now it's going to give us error because we have not proceeded a function keyword here. After specifying the function keyword, we are not able to see the error. Okay, then the next thing, we need to create another function which is actually used to calculate the password strength. So function here we need to use the get password strength. So this is the password strength. Then we need to actually start its block of code. So here we need to provide the if condition. Inside of that we need to provide the password, which is the length of the password. Right now the value of the variable, which is the password length, actually the value of this particular variable, which is the password. So here we need to use the password dot length. So length, if it is smaller than equal to 10, then we want to display here like we need to return a weak password. Alright, and we need to check for the else if condition. Else if, again we need to provide here a condition which is like password, like this particular password dot length, If it is smaller than equal to 20, then we need to return the value which is like return medium. All right, then to terminate that, and after that we need to provide the else condition here. Else, inside of that we need to return, here we need to provide the strong, and then we need to terminate that. So this is the code for the get password strength, and after that here we need to update the value of the update password indicator. So for that we need to create the const variable, so const, and then here we need to provide the password indi strength. So actually I have to create the variable which is password strength, or I can just simply type the whole password strength. Password strength, we need to initialize it with the value of the get password strength, and then we need to here pass the value, so passbox dot value. So according to the value of the passbox, we need to suppose here we get the value of the passbox is like 9, so the value 9 will be come back to here. So 9 is smaller than 3, so the password is actually weak. Now here the value is actually like if I just increase the value here, like so why it is not working? Actually this is the final version, this is our version of the application. So if I increase the value like 20, or I can say that the 15, so now the value of this particular 15 will be come back to here. So 15 is smaller than equal to 10, which is incorrect, then it will come back to the else part, which is the else if block. Then 15 is smaller than equal to 20, which is true, so now the password is medium. So according to these values we want to update the color as well. Alright, so we need to actually update the password indicator. So for that we need to actually use these CSS, like these password indicator CSS. Alright, so come back to the script.js. So after getting the password strength, then here we need to provide the pass indicator, which is the variable we have created at the top, which is this one, pass indicator variable, which is the 9th variable, pass indicator dot, we need to specify here a class name, so class name, and then it is going to be equal to pass indicator. So this is actually the name of the CSS. If I come back to the CSS, so this is actually the name of the CSS. So pass indicator, and this will be the static code, because it will be same for all of these three, which is the, if you see the name of the CSS like pass indicator, and pass indicator, these three is actually same. So that is the reason we have provided the pass indicator inside the double quotes. And then we need to provide here a value, means we need to add it with the password strength. Alright, so we are actually getting these value like password strength, the value that we are actually get with the use of this particular function. So if the value is 15, then we get the medium, so it will become a pass indicator medium, which is actually a CSS for this one, medium password CSS. So it will be treated like this, so this CSS will be used, the default one is this, and the CSS will be used. So okay, so this is the update password indicator. If I control save it, then you can see right now the color is not changed. Okay, so now the reason that the color is actually not changing in the our version of the application, like in the final version it is updating the password indicator. The reason for that, here inside the where actually I am calling the get password strength, like this one, you can see the get password strength. So here inside of that I have actually using the passbox value, means passing the argument, but I inside the definition of the function I didn't receive the argument. So that is the reason, because it is actually unable to access this particular password. So we need to create this argument here. If I control save it, and if I now change, now you can see still not working. So if I see, and if I press the F12 key to see the problem here, like if I use here right now, you can see it is not working, it's giving me the issues. Also I need to change the spelling, that is not correct, which is very strong. Right now it is not changing the color. When I just do that, it's actually disappear. So after changing the variable, it is actually still not working. So I think the reason for that, To actually debug it, I need to use here console log, means I need to check whether we are actually able to get the password strength value, because the main thing we need to actually fetch the password strength, means we are actually able to get the password strength. We need to print the value, and then we also need to print the class name, because this is the class name actually responsible for updating this particular CSS code. Alright, so here I need to use the console statement. So console.log, so this will be used, and here I need to pass the password strength. Okay, and then again I need to provide another console log here, console.log, and inside of that I will be passing the whole password indicator dot class name, and if I here save it, and now if I just come back to here, click on generate, or even if I can do so now, right now you can see the values are actually printed here, like medium, weak, and now we are also getting the strong one also, and this is here right now you can see pass indicator strong, so there is no such space between these. So right now we are facing this issue here. This is because the pass indicator, and then there is a concatenation, so there should be a space, otherwise this is actually not going to work in JavaScript. So we need to actually provide here a space. Like if I provide here a space, if I control save it, now you can see we are able to see the password indicator as well. So our problem is actually fixed by just providing here a one single space. So now the problem is fixed. Okay, and right now you can see when I just simply refresh the web page, if I just close this console right now, you can see it's actually having this blank line, which is a grayish line, but in the final version, if I just simply refresh it, you will see there is a red line, which is actually indicating that the password is not added, or you can say that the password is very vague, because right now it is actually a blank. So to achieve this behavior, we have to write here a code like we need to actually listen to the window listener. So here we need to add the window dot, and then we need to add the add event listener, and here we need to listen to the DOM content load, and here we need to pass the callback, and I'm going to here use the arrow function. Inside of that I will be passing the update password indicator. Okay, so now you can see we are getting these value. If I control save, means in the our version of the application, you can see we are getting this value. Okay, so now we are actually able to get this red indicator indicating that there is no such default password is present, or you can say that the password is very weak. Okay, so now the final functionality that is left for this particular application is the copy functionality. Right now in the final version, if I click on copy, then we will able to copy the data. Okay, and if I paste it in the version, then you can see this particular text is pasted, which is the random password. So to achieve that, we need to create the listener to the button, which is the copy btn. So this is a copy btn. Okay, so we need to add the listener to this copy btn. Okay, so let's start doing it by adding the listener to this copy btn. So coming back to the end of the code, so here we want to add the copy btn, add event listener. So we want to listen to the click listener of the copy btn, and instead of that I'm going to pass the arrow function and to start the body of the function, and here we need to add the if inside the block, like passbox dot value, passbox dot values, and the approximation is not equal to this particular value, or we need to use the logical or operator, then passbox value dot length, if it is greater than equals to 1, then we want to copy the value of the input box. Okay, that is where the random password will be present. So we need to use the navigator dot clipboard, and we need to use the write text. Instead of that, we need to write the value of the passbox. Okay, then we need to update the copy btn inner text to like check. Okay, control save it, and then we also need to add after that, if I just recopy it here, And if I just create here some random paths, if I click on copy, now the content is copied. If I come back to the next tab, paste it, then you can see object element. Okay, so here what is it's actually copied. The reason for that, because I also need to provide here dot value. Okay, control save it, coming to the our version of the application again, increase the password length, copy it, and coming back to the new version here again to I just want to paste it. You can see we are finally getting it, the password character. Next, if you come back to the version of the application, right now you can see there is a checked sign is not actually removed, and we also need to display the copy icon in place of this checked once we copy the data, just like in the final version. If I copy it, and after some part of the, you can see it's actually changes back to the copy again. So to add that particular effect, means to achieve that particular feature, we need to here use this set timeout function. So that set timeout, and we need to start the block of the code for this set timeout, and inside of the brackets of this set timeout, here we need to add the code. Now we don't need to specify these curly brackets, we need to specify the curly bracket inside of this one by specifying the arrow function here. Then to start the block of the code, then we need to terminate that. Inside of the set timeout, we need to use the copy btn dot inner html is equal to, and then here again we need to provide the content underscore copy, which is the icon code, and then here we need to provide the time. After 3 seconds, we want to change the icon back to its copy icon. Like once it is checked, then we want to change the icon back to the copy icon. You can see now it's actually changed. Okay, so now the application is completed. If you copy it and you can paste it in the version, you can see XA, this is the password, it is totally same. So now the application is completely built, which is the password generator application. So if you like this module, then please leave a review, because your review definitely going to help me to reach more students and also motivates me to create more awesome courses like this. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much.